Hi, Verl Workman here, and welcome to Workman Wisdom. Today we're talking about planning for the future and creating or intentionally creating what it is you want to have your life to be. One of my favorite authors is a guy by the name of Og Mandino. And Og Mandino wrote the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. Many of you have seen me in seminars or do events where I'll pull out an Og Mandino, Greatest Salesman in the World. And what Og Mandino talks about in this series of, in this book is a series of scrolls. And a young lad wants to learn how to become a great salesman, and he approaches his mentor. And he says to the mentor, teach me everything I need to know to be a great salesman. And the mentor says, go out in the world and do these things. And if you do the things I ask you to do, when you return, then I'll unlock the secrets. Well, over the series of his lifetime, he goes out and does all these things. He becomes quite a great salesman. But the master finally says, right before he dies, that I'm going to tell you where the scrolls are that will unlock the keys. Well, these 10 scrolls have become a foundation for many of the things that we've built our business on. In Og Mandino's first scroll, he says, today I begin a new life. Today I shed my old skin, which has long suffered the bruises of failure and the wounds of mediocrity. Today I'm born anew, and my birthplace is a vineyard where there is fruit for all. Now, on the second page of this is page 52 of his book, he says this. He says, the career I have chosen is laden with opportunity, yet it's fraught with heartbreak and despair. And the bodies of those who have failed, where they piled up one on top of another, would cast a shadow down upon the pyramids. I love that because it sounds like he could have just wrote in realtor. So many people get into real estate and they fail. And the reason they fail is because they don't know what to do. They accidentally fall into real estate because they don't know what else to do. They go out and sell their 2 or 3 friends and family or a house, and then they're like, now what? And there's really not a lot of training and a lot of systems and a lot of really good help to help real estate agents become truly successful business leaders. And that's what I want to talk about I want to talk about intentional creation for just a minute. A good friend of mine and the CEO of the Og Mandino Corporation is a man by the name of Dave Blanchard. And you'll hear Dave Blanchard talk about intentional creation. And what intentional creation means is that we intentionally create the life that we want. And that includes our business, our family, our friends, our finances, and all the areas that create life balance. You can either have it be accidentally created by allowing the universe to set your future, or it can be intentionally created by you deciding exactly what it is you want and then doing the necessary behavior changes to actually accomplish that. And so as we talk about intentional creation today, I want to talk about just a simple focus on goal setting. A lot of agents set goals and then they go out and they do everything they can. Most agents never look at their goals again after the middle of January. But I'm going to show you a different approach to goal setting right now that will change the way that you view your goals. Let me grab my marker. So first of all, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think about a goal. It could be an income goal, it could be a weight loss goal, it could be a prospecting goal, it could be build a team, whatever that goal is, and I want you to write it down. Now, in order for it to be a legitimate goal, it has to be very specific. It has to be something that you can actually see and it's tangible and I can achieve it. I'll give you an example of a bad goal. I could use the goal, lose weight. Now, if I don't give it a number, I say lose weight's a goal, I could lose a pound this month and feel like it was a big victory. But if I said I want to lose 50 pounds in the next 6 months, that's a specific goal with a time frame on it. So I want your goal to be specific, I want it to have a time frame, and I want it to be measurable. So specific, measurable, attainable, smart, realistic, and timely. Those are the specific things you look for. So I'm going to use just an income goal for fun because we've been using in the Workman Wisdom blog, last one, we talked about 4 pillars of income, and we talked about an income goal. So I'm going to use the income goal of 100,000 just to play off that same thing. Now, $100,000 is a financial goal. So if my goal is $100,000 and I want to make $100,000 in 2017, now that number could be $1 million, it could be 500,000, it could be 250,000, whatever that number is to you that's important. What I've learned is that the difference in setting a bigger goal and a lower goal is just the activities you have to do to get there. I believe that most of us are capable of accomplishing great things. And the only limits that are there are the ones that we put on ourselves. And so you have to decide what limiting beliefs you have that are keeping you from setting a real high goal. And I also believe that if you're always hitting your goals, you aren't setting them high enough. So push yourself a little bit. Get a little bit uncomfortable with your goal setting process. So I'm going to say $100,000 because that's an easy number. At $100,000, I want you to ask yourself this question. Now, if your number's not 100,000, if it's 500,000 or $1 million, Whatever your number is, I want it to be a stretch. I want it to be something that you have to really reach for to get there. And then when you hit that number, I want to know why that's so important to you. Why is that number so important to you? So let me ask you the why question. So I'll give you an example. I asked somebody, why do you want to make 100,000? They say, oh, well, because then I'd feel like I'd have less stress. So is that the real why, less stress? They say, no, it's not really less stress. Well, less stress where? Well, maybe less stress in my relationship because we always fight about money. Or maybe I want to be able to send my kids to a private school. Or I want to be able to pay for, private lessons in golf or basketball or gymnastics or whatever the thing that's important in your family. And your current level of income doesn't allow you to do that. I want to know your real why. I was in Lake of the Ozarks I was doing a seminar, and I remember a lady coming up to me at the end of the seminar, and she says, Verl, I really want to sign up for your coaching, but this is my last $2,000. This is all I have on a credit card, and if I give it to you, it better work. Hey, no pressure for me as your coach. I said, all right, so tell me a little bit about why it's so important. She says, I have to make $150,000. I said, why? She says, well, I just know that I can. I know there's other agents making $150,000 and they're not as good as me. So I know that I need to be able to make $150,000. I said, I'm not buying it. Why is that number so important to you? Why 150,000? And she thought for a minute. She goes, my real why? And I said, yeah, why that number? I mean, why not 250? Why not 300? Why not 100? She said, I'll give you the reason. She said, because that was my combined income before our divorce. And I'm tired of telling my kids we don't have enough money anymore because we don't have the same money of our two incomes. To me, that's a real why. And if you will take the time to really think through what your real why is, it changes everything about how you behave in relationship to your goals. And so the real why is, I want to make my decisions because it's the right thing to do, as opposed to whether or not we have the money. I want to make decisions not because of money. I want to make decisions, it's the right thing to do or not the right thing to do for my family. And then I want you to think in advance of all the reasons you're going to give me as your coach as excuses for failure as to why you didn't hit that goal. So now I want you to say, okay, so if I don't hit my $100,000 income goal this year, why? Well, I didn't prospect. I didn't block time every day to make my phone calls. I didn't work my sphere of influence. I was afraid to knock on doors. I did other fake work. I got distracted by my friends who wanted to go to lunch every day. Other people who were making less money than me. I want you to write down all of the excuses that you're going to give me for failure at the end of the year. And then one by one, I want you to write a resolve for every single one of those excuses. And so we do the goal, the why it's important to you, the excuses for failure, and then write a resolve so you can't use it. And then the very last action item on intentionally creating your future is to create action items or the specific things that you need to do in your business to be able to hit that income goal. So promise me this, you'll take the time to think about your goals. I would do 5 business goals and 5 specific personal goals. I would break every single one of them down like this with an action item on the end. And if you'll send it in to me, I'll review it, give you feedback, and help you intentionally create the life you deserve. So thanks for tuning in today. I'll see you next week on Workman's Wisdom.